A lot riding on today's voting. The 4 remaining GOP candidates duking it out in 5 states today. Nearly 400 delegates up for grabs. Ohio and Florida are especially critical. According to the research folks in our brain room, if Donald Trump wins those key states, he would need to win just half of the remaining delegates to clinch the nomination. If Trump wins Florida but loses Ohio, he would need to win more than 55% of the remaining delegates. That would make his road to the nomination much harder and increase the likelihood of a brokered convention in July. So I just want to go to you. In my lifetime, I've never seen a brokered convention. Can you just explain to people what that means and what it would look like?
Okay, so he doesn't get to 1237. Let's say it's that second scenario. He loses Ohio. He has to win, I think it's 63% of the remaining delegates on the table. Let's say Ted Cruz blocks him. So then he goes into Cleveland short of the necessary majority of delegates. Then it's an open convention. It's basically contested. It's not necessarily brokered in that there's a smoke-filled room and somebody's saying, let's do this. It's not like that. It's ballots. So you have a first ballot, and he comes up short. Then you have a second ballot, and there are half of the delegates that can be released to vote to somebody else. And they then start to move around and figure out who is the candidate that can get over the 1237 majority. You could have a third ballot, a fourth ballot, until you find someone who can get to that magic number. And the thing with an open convention, a contested convention, is that it could be somebody from the outside who was not running. But I think that is probably less likely because the Trump people would get up and walk out. Yeah. They would just say, forget it.
And what would that mean?
That would mean that their party would just implode. I think if half the delegation got up and said, we're not putting up with this.
We're out of here.
So I think, you know, the going bet is even if he comes just short of 1237 Trump, he still probably is likely to get the votes, but there would have to be some horse trading.
So if you were a betting man, Brett.
Yes. Candidate Casino. 100 chips.
Where do things go here?
Ooh,
do we see a contested convention?
I think that Trump probably gets to 1237. Just looking at the states, looking at how momentum happens.
And that's an absolute win in Florida and Ohio?
I think he might lose Ohio and still get there,
okay,
actually. But it's just going to be a little tougher for him. If he comes up short, he's going to make the case that a plurality, not a majority, should give him the nomination. And RNC rules will not go for that.
He's already making that case.
Yeah.
He's saying that if I have the most, then I should be the candidate. I mean, he's already the nominee. He's already saying that.
Yeah, but we have, you know, in the Senate, you have to get 60 votes.
No, I hear you.
You know,
I'm just telling you what he said.
Yeah, I know, and it's amazing.
So thank you for wiping away the vision that I had of the puppies playing poker at the broker convention. I appreciate that. I mean, it is a little bit more. Yeah, right. But I mean, really, what does this do to the party? Is the damage already done, or can they go forth? I mean, you see Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House. You saw at the last debate, RNC Chairman Reince Priebus get up on stage before anybody else took the stage and basically said, we're going to, you know, go forward as a team.
It's going to be interesting to see. That's the biggest question about what happens with the Donald Trump nomination, is that can the party unify? Can they see Hillary Clinton as such a negative thing in their minds for the White House that they can unify behind Donald Trump? Right now, there is a big rift in this party, and the Never Trump folks are a significant chunk.
It reminds me a little bit of Survivor without the torches and the islands, what you're describing at the convention, Brett. Very quickly, if a candidate drops out, can you explain the difference between holding on to those delegates very quickly and what difference it makes if you suspend or you stay in the race?
Right, they still have those delegates. So when they go to the convention, they're still power brokers because they have a chunk of delegates. And that's why somebody like Rubio, he may be you know, moving the needle come Cleveland.
Yeah, oh, that's interesting.
It's going to be fascinating one way or the other.